You've probably heard that the first impression is the last impression. When it comes to novels, this couldn't be more true. The first impression that you might have of a novel is when you turn the cover page and read the first line. The opening lines of a novel, they not only grab your attention but also set the tone of everything that the novel has to offer. From Pride and Prejudice to Moby, there are some of the most iconic opening lines in English literature that you must know, especially if you are preparing for your UGC NET English exam. In today's video, we are going to dive deep into the 10 most famous and forgettable and iconic first lines of English literature, not to mention the frequently asked lines in UGC NET English exam. We will explore how these opening lines are so iconic in the classic works of literature and how they play a crucial role in your NET preparation. Can you help me find a better and a simpler opening line than "Call me Ishmael"? I bet you can't. This is the most famous opening line of Moby Dick by Herman Melville. From the very first line, we as readers are hooked to the novel. We tend to ask ourselves as to who is Ishmael? Why should we call him Ishmael? Is his real name Ishmael? If not, then what is it? We tend to go into this spiral of so many questions. And that's the example of a good opening line of a classic novel like this. The second most iconic line that perhaps every English literature student would be knowing is, "It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife." Now, if you're an avid reader of literature classics or if you're a student of English literature, you already know that this is the classic first line of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. This very witty and satirical line establishes irony and social expectations that will underline this entire novel. What you see is Austen's acute observations about society's values and expectations that makes this novel an enduring classic of English literature. Want to understand more such classics in English literature for your NET exam? You can join my live classes for UGC NET English exam preparation. In these live classes, I am covering the history of British English literature, Indian English literature, and literary theories in a very simplified and detailed manner. I am covering each and every period, each and every author and their works in a very detailed and simplified manner. Be it crash course or the 1-hour masterclass, the best part about these sessions is that these are live one-on-one sessions, which means that I can provide you personalized guidance tailored to your needs and requirements, trying to fill the possible gaps in your UGC NET English exam preparation. If you want to know more about the courses I offer, the sessions I take, and the notes I provide, feel free to check out my TopMate page. It's topmate.io/Riya Gandhi. I've shared the link in the description box below, so don't forget to check it out. Having said that, let's move on to the next famous opening line in English literature. Next up, we have Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities, which begins with, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times." Frequently asked in UGC NET English exam, this paradoxical first line reflects the turbulences during the French Revolution, showcases the contrasting feelings, the mixed feelings during this period, and also sets the stage for sacrifice, drama, conflict that is to come later in the novel. All happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Do you agree? Well, Leo Tolstoy surely does in Anna Karenina. This famous opening line was asked in UGC NET English exam of December 2023. From the very first line, you will realize that this too will talk about the socio-cultural realities of the Russian society and will uncover the nature of family life. Not just that, but this particular novel also focuses upon the emotional turmoil and the tragic dynamics of the characters like Anna Karenina, who finds herself trapped in the patriarchal world. Can the clock strike 13? Well, not in this world, but surely in the dystopian world of George Orwell. His most famous novel, 1984, begins with the most chilling line in English literature. It starts with, "It was a bright cold day in April and the clocks were striking 13. Immediately you realize that this novel is not set in reality. From the very beginning, it sets the dystopian tone of the novel. The fact that the clocks are striking 13 in this particular novel makes you realize that there's something going wrong here. The world in this novel has gone completely upside down, and as readers, we are being pulled into Orwell's terrifying vision of the future. Have you ever read a novel and felt like, what am I even reading? If not, then this one opening line will surely make you feel like that. It goes something like, "As Gregor Samsa awoke one morning from uneasy dreams, he found himself transformed in his bed into a gigantic insect." Insect? Yes, you heard it right. It is an insect. Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis begins with this bizarre and unsettling premise. You must have heard about the concept of time bending, but have you ever wondered how language can do that? Well, Gabriel Garcia Marquez will show you exactly how in the very first line of 100 Years of Solitude. It begins with, "Many years later, as he faced the firing squad, Colonel Aureliano Buendia was to remember that distant afternoon when his father took him to discover ice." Past, present, and future, all three of them are happening at the same time. It is definitely a magic realist line that blends time, memory, and history. Next up, we have James Joyce's The Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, which begins with a very playful, childlike line, and that is, "Once upon a time, and a very good time it was, there was a moo cow that was coming down along the road. And this moo cow that was coming down along the road met a nice man called Stephen Dedalus." I mean, this is one of the very few opening lines that does not actually set the stage for what the novel has to offer. But yes, it is quite unconventional, very whimsical in that sense, and it actually sets the stage for James Joyce's experimental way of writing. If on one hand, you have James Joyce beginning the journey of the development of an artist with such childlike and playful manner, on the other, you have Charles Dickens beginning the journey of David Copperfield with the most reflective and philosophical line in English literature, which says, "Whether I shall turn out to be the hero of my own life or whether the station will be held by anybody else, these pages must show." Immediately as readers, we realize that we are going to be a part of a journey of a man becoming the hero of his own life. Definitely, it's a coming-of-age story talking about identity, fate, and self-discovery. But from this very first line, we are into the personal journey of David. Have you ever had that feeling when you turn the last page of the novel and you felt like, whoa, what did I just read? Well, this one opening line will have the same impact on you. It says, "Mother died today or yesterday. I don't know." From which novel is this first line borrowed? Well, you're going to tell me that. I'll give you a hint. The way that the speaker, the narrator, has dealt in a very matter-of-fact manner about his mother's death does talk about the absurdity of life, does shed light on the meaninglessness of life. I think this is a very clear hint for you to guess the author. So, if you have rightly guessed, please mention it in the comment section below. So, there you have it. These are the 10 most famous opening lines in English literature that you should know, especially if you are preparing for your UGC NET English exam. Remember that these opening lines, they aren't just memorable. They set the tone, they build the world, and they introduce the key themes of the novels and grab our attention from the very first page. So, which first line resonated with you the most? Drop drop a comment and let me know. If you found this video informative and helpful, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. And if you're preparing for your UGC NET English exam, stay tuned for more such content like this.